What's up, guys? So we're just going to do a little bit of a Q&A today, and we got a question from one of our viewers. How long did it take to learn wrestling as an adult? And I will say it depends on the type of work you put in, and it depends on how much work you put in. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story. I met a pretty solid wrestler when I was 19, and I didn't start training with him until I was about 21. After I was done with, amateur boxing, I had done a couple fights, and I wanted to learn how to grapple. And this is kind of where I started mixing into more of an MMA mindset. Anyways, met a friend that was a pretty solid wrestler. I worked pretty close to him, like 10 or 15 minutes from his house. So every day after work, I would drive to his house. And when I got there, it was usually just me and him. And he had mats in his basement with a lot of mat space. And we would drill techniques for pretty much an hour. And then after an hour of drilling techniques, showing me takedowns, showing me different things I should and shouldn't do in a wrestling scenario or a grappling scenario, I had a particular interest in wanting to learn how to wrestle because I never wrestled in high school. I was never pushed to wrestle by anybody, and I just was never given the opportunity. So I never wrestled in high school. And after high school, I kind of regretted not wrestling in high school, so I wanted to know how to wrestle. So since my friend was a pretty decent wrestler, most of the time when I went to his house, we were drilling techniques in wrestling and takedowns and different kind of takedown defenses and all that sorts of stuff. So he was teaching me the basics. And after each time, we would do rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds of wrestling because that's what you want to work on. So if you want to work on your wrestling, you need to find a wrestler or find a friend that'll wrestle with you, and you need to train under the rules of wrestling, freestyle, folk style, whatever you want to do. I think all styles of wrestling and training them will make you better, so you should do them. Try out Greco-Roman if you want, try out freestyle, try out all the different rule sets. And with all this training I would do, I would want to test myself with people who I'd grappled against in the past, some friends who were a little bigger, a little stronger than me, who used to beat me and just bully me with their weight. I would want to test myself against them with this new stuff that I learned from my friend who was a really good wrestler. And mind you, wrestling teaches you a lot about top control and a lot about how to take a guy down and not get taken down. So these are very, very good traits to have in any grappling scenario, whether that's MMA, jiu-jitsu, or wrestling. I ended up joining a jiu-jitsu gym, and my friend ended up joining a jiu-jitsu gym himself, so I no longer went over his house every day after work to go train with him. But I joined a jiu-jitsu gym, and about a year into that, I was starting to become one of the better wrestlers inside the jiu-jitsu class. A lot of people I had an easy time taking down, and I was just piecing together all of the wrestling techniques that my friend had taught me, and I just wanted to learn more. There was a wrestling club about 5 minutes from my house, not even about 2 minute drive from my house. There was a wrestling club. The town that I live by has some of the best wrestlers in New Jersey. They had some great coaches in that wrestling club and lots of high school and college wrestlers going in and out of those classes, trying to train. And when I got there, we were pretty much doing the same thing that I would do at my friend's house. Coach would show everybody the techniques that we were going to drill. We would do live drilling, and then we would do situational drilling, and then we would get into live wrestling at the end of practice. Every practice ended with live wrestling. So if you want to get better at wrestling, you need to do a lot more wrestling. And you need to do it with people who know how to wrestle. And this was the real test. Going to the wrestling club was the real test for me to see where my wrestling was at. And I learned that I knew nothing, and I mean nothing, about wrestling. All these guys that were bigger than me in the jiu-jitsu class who I could take down with ease, try taking down a 125-pound wrestler. It's almost impossible, especially when it's your first week. So I can't give you an exact time frame of how long it took me to learn wrestling as an adult, but I would say I put in a lot of work and time, and I learned relatively quickly, a good amount. So it all depends on what work you're willing to put in and what time you're willing to put in. And that is how I learned how to wrestle as an adult. So with that, Get out there and start wrestling. And if you like content like this and you want to see more of it, then like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Peace.